Farm attacks and farm murders continue to be a contentious, divisive aspect in South Africa. There's isolated communities with people that mostly know each other, people that live within proximity of each other, and some even know each other very well, and yet they live very different lives. Now, this issue has been continuously politicized. It has been racialized. Today on People's Imbizo, we try to dissect the issue of farm security. We try to understand the motives behind these farm attacks. Hello and welcome to your program, People's Imbizo, with myself. I'm your host, Audrey Chimwanda, and you're at home and most welcome to join in the conversation. You can tweet us at People's Imbizo. Use the hashtag People's Imbizo as well to interact with us. This time we're coming to you from Tzaneen. We are in the farming community, and in just a few minutes I will be introducing to you my panel for discussion. Let me introduce to you my panel for today. The Mayor of Tzaneen is with us, Councillor Maripe Mangena. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
A very good morning to you and the viewers.
We also have from the head of Department for Community Safety, that's Nchabeng Tsebe. Ma'am, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us, and good day.
And we have from AfriForum, we have the chairman for Tzaneen, that's Mr. Peter Venter. Peter, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Gloria. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
And from the Freedom Front Plus, we have the provincial leader, that's Marcel Meritz. Marcel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and good morning to all the guests.
Last but not least, we have from the ACDP, the Chief Whip of the province, Mr. Brighton Hlongwane. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Audrey, and we appreciate the invite.
Right, let's get right to it. I'll start with Mayor Mangena. Mayor, what is your understanding of the farm attacks in this community, especially in Tzaneen, of course?
No, thanks very much, Audrey. As the municipality, and we do appreciate the fact that indeed there are farm attacks in terms of the statistics that we continue to receive from time to time from SAPS. We're working well together with them. We understand that a crime to an individual is a crime, irrespective of who the person is. That is why we are very much concerned. However, we are, as a municipality, taking very serious initiatives, working together with the department, SAPS, and other stakeholders, which I believe we'll be able to articulate later on during the program about the efforts that we are taking. But we note it, and we are very much concerned. We know that crime in the farms, especially in Tzaneen, we understand that it affects our economy because agriculture is the heart of Tzaneen economy. The reason why we are proud of Tzaneen is because we are agricultural area. Therefore, anything that tampers with that economy becomes our major concern.
Right, let's go to Freedom Front Plus now. Marcel, you tabled a motion to debate the issue of farm attacks. In fact, I think one of your members said that being a farmer is almost more dangerous than being a policeman in this country. Is that an analogy, or is this what you actually believe as a party? Is this the gravity of the insecurity that the farmers are feeling at this moment?
Yes, Audrey, thank you very much. Yes, I do believe, and the Freedom Front Plus is very concerned in the way that the killings are taking place. The brutality on killing people on the farms is getting much more aggressive than ever before. We do believe that we need more security. We need to protect the farmers, because the farmers, no farmer, no food, no future for this country. And we should start looking into that. I don't think the government is taking the farmers' killings serious. We need to start looking on the rural areas where the farmers and land areas where the farmers are farming. They are people that are living in fear at this stage, because they don't know when they will be the next victim of a farm murder. And they produce food for us. So, yes. I do think the urgency for us to take a motion to Parliament and to get the attention of the country that the farmers are needed very much in South Africa. In fact, everybody are needed in South Africa. We're all here together to make a future. And we all talked about the Rainbow Nation, but it seems to me the Rainbow Nation just fell apart, and only a few races are gathering.
And we will talk about the Rainbow Nation, but were you satisfied with the arguments that were brought in Parliament from the different political parties and the comments that they brought forward?
Some of the MP members did bring a good statement to Parliament, but some of the parties still are not taking this very serious. For example, the EFF openly says that we stole the land, and by saying that you are creating aggressivity. People think
Inciting
they can take
hate
land.
speech.
Yeah, hate speech.
Right.
They will, and that's what's happening now. People believe they can take farms, and we did not steal land. There's no way that anybody can just take a land and start farming.
And of course, that's one of the issues we'll be discussing in a few minutes. Unfortunately, the EFF is not here to defend themselves or, on those comments, but we will be talking about hate speech and things that incite violence here in the farms. From AfriForum, Peter, there is this perception that when it comes to farm attacks, farm murders, these are attacks that are perpetrated only on white-owned farms. As AfriForum, you have come up with statistics of farm attacks and farm killings. Can you give us an understanding on who exactly the victims are? Can you break it down to us with regards to farm attacks and killings?
Well, what I can tell you is statistically, you can say farm killings is on a farm that happened, or farm attack is on a farm that happened. These days, the farms get owned by everybody. The whole Rainbow Nation is owning farms. So as South Africans, we're getting attacked by criminals that targets these farms, and what they do is it's a soft target. So it's actually a criminal element that's coming into the farms, and they target these farms. So we see as AfriForum that we have to work together with the police and other communities to help solve the problems on this and get information between the communities and between the security clusters, the CPFs and the police, to get this under the best way that we can solve it and at the moment. But we think as AfriForum, it's a community, we have to stand together and work together to solve the problem.
Right, let's go to the Department of Community Safety. Ma'am, farms are generally isolated areas. I think, like what Peter alluded to, they become soft targets for criminals. Obviously, there are other elements that come into it. But do you think the police have done enough to fill in this vacuum that has left these communities so vulnerable to these attacks?
Yes, thank you, Audrey, and our viewers. The police are indeed going an extra mile. The only one thing that I think can assist us as a country is to embrace the idea of community policing. You can imagine how many we are in the country, and you expect the police to be in every household. It's not realistic. What we need is a strong community safety structures or community policing forums, which we have already established in the province. We've got community police forums, as well as community safety forums in our police stations and our municipalities. If people can be able to join these structures, we will be able to fight crime together, because crime at the end of the day is everybody's responsibility. It does not know any gender, race, or color. It is in our interest as a community to make sure that our people are safe. And so I believe that with the initiatives that the department has created of establishing these community policing structures, we are giving people the platform wherein they can come together, conduct community safety audits. For instance, here in Tzaneen, we can analyze the kind of crimes or the modus operandi of these various crimes and try to bring up interventions that can assist us as a community.
And what have you come up with regards to the research you have done with these crimes? Are they organized? Are they random crimes? Is there a need for a specialized police unit to deal specifically with farm attacks, or are they not a unique feature? Like I think what the police minister said a few days ago, that farm attacks need to be visualized in the greater context of crime in South Africa.
Yeah, we also need to understand that the farms are also different. There are farms wherein you will have a game, wherein then the crime becomes cross-border, because it attracts some sort of, an organized crime. But there are farms wherein we are just, concentrating on our, like here in Saning, it's citrus, it's vegetables, tomatoes, and all kinds of things. It then becomes incumbent on us to understand, the landscape as well as the people therein, so that we develop appropriate interventions. But what is important is that you can come up with high technology and whatever. The success depends on the willingness of the community itself to cooperate with the police. We are committing once more that as the police, we will give, and we are doing that. We are giving the necessary support that we can, but it's a partnership that will make our successes even more, greater.
Right.
Yes.
Mr. Hlongwane, let's get you into the conversation here. Freedom Front Plus, myself, they said there's racial undertones when it comes to these farm attacks. Also, it's an issue that has been politicized. We've heard some political leaders saying, if you see a piece of land that you like, you can go ahead and take it. That'll be Julius Malema. The issue of ANC members also saying there should be an issue of land expropriation without compensation. Do you think this has fueled these attacks that we're seeing here in these communities?
Thank you, Audrey, and the viewers out there. Audrey, you see the role of politicians is very, very important. The message that we convey to the community as politicians, because everybody regards us as their leaders. To be honest with you, the politicians, the political parties were the ones who are letting the whole process down in terms of us curbing or limiting this thing. We must say it. Because, for example, just give an example, Audrey. On Tuesday, when the Groenewald was showing the brutality and the escalation of the crime, the Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Judith Manana, stood up and said, "Bury them alive." Now you see, that's a problem. We as politicians, we should send the right message. This country is a good country. We need to make sure that this country succeeds in what we say. Before the technocrats and everybody, all the structures do whatever, we need to lead by example as politicians. That would be my take on this one.
Right, Mayor Mangena, is there no political will to deal with these farm attacks?
Perhaps it will be very critical to contextualize the whole scenario. Audrey, in my introduction, I indicated that our understanding that we are talking about crime. When we talk about crime, we're not attaching race, we're not attaching tribe, we're not attaching any other thing in order for us to be able to defeat it. I'm referring to, for example, the crime around here. We have this largely farming area. If we want to win, but begin to attach political undertones, we are going to miss focus. Because look at what the people do when they go into the farms. They are not necessarily informed by politics of wanting to expropriate land currently. Someone goes there, they kill. Someone goes there, they steal TV's property. So for us, let us allow the political processes of actually dealing with transformation, a space that side, but here, deal with any individual. Because most of the people who are arrested, even if you trace them, you don't hear them referring to any mandate from any political party currently. Now, what we need to do is for us to run with speed in relation to the issues of social cohesion and unity. That becomes very key. For us to say a crime that happens here in Deer Park and a crime that happens somewhere there in Hamdruba, all of them must treat them as crime without trying to distinguish them. For that reason, I'm saying the HOD referred to some steps that they have taken. We have had a very high-level meeting here in Zanin where we're discussing about ways of curbing crime and the structures that she was referring to, which must see communities both rural farms and townships working together. Because in the statement, the input that we made, we have said criminals in all our communities are fewer, far fewer than peace-loving people of South Africa. The problem is that we are not yet so much united. We want, she was referring to the Rainbow Nation, we want the farming community and the communities where the workers come from to be together so that we are able to share. But I'm happy, for example, here in Zanin, I know already we have got what you call Local Economic Development Forum, where we sit on behalf of our communities with the farming community and any other business people to chart way forward. And we believe we are going to find a solution because we are in the process of launching community safety forums, because those that are currently serving, their time is lapsing. We want an integrated society, integrated structures that will be able to fight and defeat crime. We're not talking a crime in relation to colors currently.
Right. Well, the Freedom Front Plus is, I'll come back to you, Marcel. I can see you are just about to jump out of your seat. You have a lot to say. You are convinced that these attacks have racial undertones. Do you also concede that in an area like this, farming communities in the middle of rural poverty, there's issues of inequality where you have the haves and the have-nots? We have these huge conglomerates. And not to say that it is an excuse. The amount of inequality that we have, the poverty that we see in these communities, do you think perhaps that could also have something to do with these robberies that we're seeing and these attacks?
Thank you, Audrey. No, I don't agree with the Honourable Mayor. I do agree on that. The killings are brutally. If you want to break into a place and steal a television or whatever for food, it's not a problem. But do you have to bore holes in a lady's legs? Do you have to put a plastic bag down her throat? Do you have to stab them with a knife 90 times? What is the message that they're sending? If they are poor, then I do feel for people that haven't got money. We do care for everybody. But the brutality that is happening on farm killings is not a crime. That is murdering and killing of white farmers.
Well, the truth is there's black farmers that are killed as well.
You must remember one thing. You must remember one thing. I do agree with you. But we must get to a point to say that how many black on white and white on black? I mean, to be serious, Audrey.
Okay.
We are being killing. Because
but do
the
you
message
also
is out
concede
there.
it's more white farmers that actually own these farms? Perhaps
And they are more killed because
more than
the
black
message
people that
from
own farms.
Honourable Malema is that they can walk and take a farm wherever they want. And if you see the posters, what they always show around is white farmers. It's not black farmers. So yeah, I do agree. I feel sorry for all the farmers. And we have to stand together with the police, CPF, the neighbourhood watchers. That's very important. Right. But we must just get this thing
Let's call a spade a spade. I think this is where you're coming to go, which is what you think is a fact, which is fine. I think ACDP also alluded to the fact that hate speech that is coming from political leaders could be inciting some of these issues. Peter, the violence that we see in this, the brutality that we see in some of these crimes that have been documented, that we have been reporting on, and I think the mayor says a very important point, that it appears, there's a breakdown in the relationship between farm owners and the farm workers. Has there been any effort to try and integrate communities so that there's an understanding, so that there's some kind of a conversation, in case there's any resentment coming from whichever part of the group that we're dealing with?
Usually what we've found is that on the farms, the farm workers and the farmers are working excellent together. So I think it's because they know it's a business. And this business must run and everybody is going to get something out of it. The better the business runs, the better the money will be there, and so the farm will grow. The farm workers also grow with the farms. But what I think is what we have to do as a community, have to work together and just organize to get our information structures more workable, that we can if there's a crime, that we can liaise with the police and tell them, okay, this is the information. Because I don't think the information is getting out of the farm. So there must be a farm worker that's not happy on the farm, and he's willing to give information out on that farm. Because these criminal syndicates that's operate, or criminals that's operating, they get information first, because they just don't go to the farm and walk through the field and say, here's a farm that we're going to loot. So what they do is they get the information, so they need to tap the information from that farm worker or somebody inside the farm. And that is how the information gets out. And so I don't think it's necessary to say that the farm workers got a grievance against the farm owners. Because here in this, where we sit now, it's mostly black-owned farms. And the community is working together. I think as a collective, we stand very strong as farming community.
Actually, I think we should extend this focus to say it is not only the white farmers who are really suffering, even smallholders, small farmers, even them, and also that the workers also are terrorized everywhere. These criminals, they touch all. So it is a bit extended a bit. We need to recognize that. And also that we should not forget that life is very, very important. One life is very, very important. You know, we must not use murder, for example, as a solution for land reform. That's very, very important. That we should not forget that. So that would be what I would add, Audrey, on this one.
Right, let's get comments or questions from the community members. Do we have anyone who would like to join in the conversation?
Thank you very much, and greetings to everybody assembled here. We appreciate the fact that there's this show about the farm killings or the farm attack. My name is Marutulu Zwalo, the chairperson of the Community Policing Forum in this cluster of Zanin. I just want to invite our farming community to join us in working together in the Community Policing Forum. I want to give you an example in other farms that we have rolled out a program. When you go to a farm around the Trichasdal, there's a lot of farms there. We, as Community Policing Forum, we went to every farm. We spoke to every farm owner. We organized those farmers. They are well organized. We have what we call community policing forum within that farm. We are also having rural safety meetings within every police station, whereby all stakeholders, including farmers, which are they are the lead department. In fact, they are lead stakeholders in that organization, whereby they discuss their challenges, and those challenges in that structure they got solved quickly. So what we are saying as Community Policing Forum, in order to eradicate this farm attack or farm killings, we call upon farming community not to operate in silos, but to come together and to have these structures of communities that they must be part of that structure, so that the community as well, they may be able to know them. The community as well, they may be able to assist them. In doing that, we believe that working together as a Greater Zanu municipality, working together as a cluster of police, we can able to eradicate this farm killing. But we are saying, do not operate alone. I'm calling upon my learned friend there, who is a chairperson of the farmers. Please, he must encourage all of his farmers to come to join us in the Community Policing Forum, so that these people can able to assist them in the eradication of crime. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, sir. We certainly appreciate it. I think he's also echoing your words, Mayor, when you're saying that unity is very important when it comes to security, because as long as there's this division, then there's that vulnerability that creeps in, and criminal elements will definitely take advantage of that.
Thank you. My name is Peter Maleta. I am a farmer around here. And I do think that, yes, it is critical that whether you are white or black, the fact of the matter is that you live in a farming community, so you are a farmer. The things that affect the other also affect you. So we do indeed need each other. And I also want to say crime also should not just be looked at in terms of only one aspect of it affecting a certain sector in the farming community. It should be something that we look at impartially, so that the life of a farm owner is as important as the life of a farm worker, is as important as the life of a child that grows in that community, both the children of the farm owners and the children of the farm workers. And I think that one of the biggest problems could be that we seem to think that crime is a government issue. Khanti is a citizen-to-citizen issue. We as inhabitants, we as people, we do this crime to each other. And government is just there to try and support us to stop killing each other. So we should not miss the point and keep pointing at government as if it is the government that discharges the crime or the criminal acts on us. It is us on each other as citizens, as human beings living here. So I think one of the things that I also pick up is that we may also, as we come to forums like this, talk nicely through our representations. But we know that when we go back there, we are the worst people that discharge worst kind of criminal acts against each other, whether it is a farm owner against the farm worker or just any other person that you see. So it is very critical that we stop also posturing in public arenas through our representatives, because then we have access to media and influential platforms that can articulate our interests. So even those that cannot access media like that, we should be human enough to think about them and reach out to them and protect them. I do think that it's important that whereas we need police in it, but farmers also need each other, and that is where it needs to start. And a community cannot be just owners only. It is everybody who lives there. And if we can try to reach out to one another and be honest with each other, not just present something in public and go and act out something different.
Right, thank
private.
you, sir, for your contribution. We certainly appreciate it. I think it's very important, again, the issue of unity coming into play here, and also acknowledging that these attacks are not only happening to farm owners, but they're also happening to the farm workers, as we have been seeing in the past recent weeks. I want to come to you, Peter, as the AfriForum. We have, let's talk about the issue of farm workers also being attacked here, because they also form part of the community. We have seen incidents of farm workers being shot by their employers who mistake them for animals, monkeys, warthogs. What are the chances of a human being mistaken for an animal, from your experience as a farm owner? And obviously there's lots of animals and farm workers here.
No, definitely not. I totally stand against it. The incidents you're talking about, I don't know much about it, but I think the law must take its totally over there, and it must be handled by the law. And we also not, I will make sure when you are a firearm owner in South Africa, you need to know the law and you need to abide by certain rules in regulations. So I don't think that somebody can mistake something before they shoot it. I won't do it because I'm a gun owner. I'm legally a gun owner, so I will make sure what I'm shooting, and so we condemn it totally.
We have to take a very short break here. We're coming to you from Tsanin, and we're discussing the issue of farm security. It appears unity is the biggest impediment in this community, a lack of compassion perhaps from trying to understand each other's fears and concerns, and we'll be trying to discuss more on this after the break. We'll be back. A warm welcome back to the program. You are on African News Network. This is ANN7. You're watching People's Imbizo. Of course, you're at home, where we welcome your comments. We have been seeing your tweets, and the hashtag to use is People's Imbizo. Get involved in the conversation. Farm security, very important topic in this country. I have a panel with me. We are discussing the different aspects that contribute to the farm attacks. We're trying to dissect also the motives behind this farm attacks and what conversation needs to happen going forward in terms of implementation, and of course in terms of reconciliation as well. I want to come to you, Marcel. What's your reaction when it comes to the abuse that has been meted on farm workers, that we have seen people being closed in coffins, we've seen farm workers being shot as well? What needs to be done to address, to reconcile that trust relationship between employers and employees?
I do think communication is very important, and I do believe that some people, you know, from all different genders and races, do sometimes step over the line, which is not good. I don't believe in attacking a person or killing a person or put the person on a coffin. I don't believe in that. But it was very much in the media, the coffin incident. The person also, we must realize, was illegal on the farm, and they tried to make a joke of it. So it was not a joke, it's a serious matter, because the person was in fear because he didn't know if he would have been killed. Luckily he wasn't killed. So that's true. I don't believe in those kind of jokes. It's not good because it's sending a different message out to people.
However, is it not a morality issue, though, you know, to some aspect, as a human being, from one human being to another?
It's a human being, but you must remember, a human being, sometimes if you make action, you get a reaction. So if you've been always hearing this racist talks and apartheid talks, that's what they blame us for. 22 years we've been blamed to be apartheid, we've been blamed to steal the farms and all those kind of things. That's a big effect, to be very honest. And the government of the day is the ANC. And they don't condemn the farm murders. They don't even take it serious in Parliament. I mean, for them it's a joke. They were sleeping, they were talking to each other while the Parliament was in session. I mean, how can you take the people that are bringing food on the table? Killing's not serious. So the government
bringing food on the table for the country. It's very important. Yes. Farming is a very important sector for this country economically. But do you also acknowledge the scars that you know, some people who are disenfranchised during apartheid may be feeling and needing to heal, and again the reconciliation that needs to happen, the understanding each other's pain going forward, and having these honest discussions without anger but with compassion?
I do believe apartheid is 22 years, should have been handled very much better than by now, but still there is more apartheid now than ever. I mean, the hate towards our people is I mean, it's just unacceptable.
Thanks. The problem with Michelle is that she's refusing to de-racialize crime.
Yes, this is why I was actually very careful about this coming into this discussion, that I know if we just look at one aspect of it, which is race, we will spend the whole week here discussing it, and yet there's so much more to it. This is why I'm trying to introduce all aspects to it.
Mr. Malita indicated that he's as well a farmer. And if one farmer is attacked, that side is as well affected, but he knows the same criminal. I continuously talk about a criminal because I have said these people that are actually killing these farmers, these people who are stealing, none of them, when arrested, would ever give a statement that indicates that they've got a political mandate or they seek to achieve a particular political agenda.
I just wanted to come in and say that if we are going to have scapegoats in addressing crime, we are not even beginning, you know, to address. We need to understand what are the contributing factors to crime, and we need to develop interventions. Blaming whichever political party or apartheid is not solving crime. Crime is a reality, let's deal with it. And we are saying from the policing perspective, we need information. We are sending information day in and day out to our farmers that once you have employees who are not registered in the country, whenever crime occurs, it becomes difficult for us as the police to track those criminals, because you will never know where they are staying, where are they from, and so on. So we need to assist each other by making sure that we share the tips, the safety tips, you know, what are the things that you should be on the lookout for as a farmer? When you leave your farm, what are the measures that you must take to make sure that in your absence, whoever is remaining in your farm is safe? What are the contact numbers? Do we have a database in this area in terms of who are our coordinators? Do we have street or village committees, or, you know, because this is in the farm, do we have you know, just a coordinating structure?
Right, a security cluster network that you can trust with regards to intelligence, so you can be able to track these crimes and the criminals.
Yes, these are the interventions that will assist us.
Do you think you're getting that from the community, ma'am, or do you think there's a lack of a willingness to give out information, even though maybe the community members maybe are very much aware of who's the perpetrators for this crime?
It differs from one community to another, because even the level of resources are different. But where you find that the farm workers, the farming community, if I may say that, or any community is well organized, you know, they participate in these community policing structures. Once crime occurs, they don't find themselves wanting. They know who to contact, they know which button to press, then that assists us in having speedy resolutions.
Okay. Mr. Hlongwane, another aspect, like I said in my introduction to the show, we want to dissect the motives behind this farm attacks. It is one thing to then talk about how we can eradicate, or rather, you know, be able to catch these crimes and lock them up. In your view, what needs to happen? Why are we having these crimes in the farms?
You know, Audrey, actually the most surprising thing is that in cases where, let me use the farm killings again, in scenes where a farmer has been killed, in some cases you find that it was just shooting the person. You find that they didn't even take the property or whatever. Then, and the level of brutality is extreme, it's horrific. Then the motive behind that is surprising. To be honest, it's a mystery that would be difficult to unravel, because the levels of hatred, the levels of brutality is out of this world.
But so that's what we're trying to establish, to find out, you know, why this is happening to start with, because we can talk about how we need to arrest people, but I think it's important to go to the root cause and root that out and try and deal with that. And this is what I'm trying to get from you as my panel today. Yes, Mayor?
Yeah, no, thanks. The root cause, you know, if we must understand it correctly, like Mr. was saying, when we say agriculture is the backbone of economy, we're not referring to the farm owner alone, because the farm owner alone without the farm worker cannot produce what we want.
Sure.
Now, what must happen is that the communities where these people come from, when before they come to work, even where they go over the weekends when they are done with their work, we must be able to reach a stage where we integrate a little bit in terms of economic activities. When these people who, for example, who are working here, most of them come from around the Bulebedi South, Relel. If they've got sporting activities there, do you find any of the farm owners' children or the farmers going there to be together with them? There is still that distance, that mistrust. We hear as black people poor and say, if you want to get something, that other side of the road, that is where there is wealth. We need to make sure that we bridge that gap. And that's what you call social cohesion.
True, and these attacks are not necessarily all of them for financial gain. Some are, and some are just, you know, just a personal attack of hatred on one person to another. So there's really different aspects to it. I want to come back to our community members. Please do interact with us. If you have a comment or question, anything you want to contribute, you may do so now.
Thank you very much. I'm Keganampo. I would like to thank this opportunity that you gave me. I'm having the question on the owner's farmer. If you see the issue of the crime, you must focus on how you pay your workers. Because when they do crime, it's because that you pay less money. I'm from the village from Wamitwa. The police, you mentioned that there is some certain groups of the security in the community. I don't know that group in Wamitwa. There is not that group of the organizations to protect the community, but you are pointing there. And some other thing, you know, as the provincial, you do know this thing that there is that organizations of security, but as the child of the village, I don't know them. And some other thing, I heard that Mayor raised some points of we must not focus only of the white farmers, even the black farmers, as the workers. You pay them less money. That's why they do crime. But if you have the trust on them and you pay them, good, there will be no crime.
My name is Opa Matebula. I'm also a farmer here in Deer Park. I think I just want to respond to Freedom Front comments, and I wish one day at least you will actually move beyond the race issue. If we look at the demographics in the whole country, the statistics on farm brutality still communicates around the demographics. We have more killings of white farmers and very less of the black farmers. If you take 100 people that are killed in a specific time, you will find that probably 99 will be white and then 1 will be black. And that still remains as the demographics of this country. Now, if you move beyond that, you go to the suffering of the farm workers. Again, we talk about the demographics. You will find that out of 100 will be mainly majority will be the black, because it's mainly the black farm workers and they will be suffering. So we don't want to talk about those because the crime is a crime, and if we start racializing it, it's becoming a problem. If we start talking about the farm children that are being abused and so on, and the women that are being raped in the farms and so on, you'll find those will still remain as the black people, because that is the majority that are sitting there. So now, if we have to go beyond to solve this issue about the crime in a farming area, then we need not only to look at the security cluster. I think it goes beyond the security cluster. Us as the farmers, we have tried very hard to even put in our own securities in the farms. Our colleagues as well as the white farmers, they have a very strong security. But I can tell you they are actually regretting to have more of that security, because the crime continue to happen within their own farms, even if with the strong security. We know we're getting a very good response from the police, and almost every day we're signing the log books. They are coming here. We're calling each other as the farmers to say, look, be aware of this car is coming and there might be a crime and so on and so on. So it has no color. And if we want to go into that, I think we're not going to go anywhere as a country. So in my view, the reason that someone will wake up in the morning and go and steal is not because of the choice. It's about the socio-economic issues that people are experiencing. Even you who are there in the panel, if you would be out of job for a year, you'll find a way to go and commit the crime. And I can bet on that. You either choose to go and become a beggar, or then if you're not given something, you will end up being a criminal. So basically, we need to go and look at the situations, us as the farmers, how hard we actually experiencing to survive together with our relationship with the farm workers. So it's being tough, and when the relationship between us and the workers are not coming all right, and it has to do with our ability to maintain and be able to compensate for the effort that they are giving it. If we're not doing what we're supposed to do as farmers because we're also struggling, and then the brutality issue comes into play. And that's where the problem is. If we go to a point where we retrench, now those people who are going home, they will come back and steal to us. So we will then plead that in the government, even if they bring in the military into the farming area, that military will not solve the issue of the crime. It will continue and continue, and even more, until we solve the issue of unemployment, and then we're not going to be able to survive on this. And I think if we are charting forward the solution, you should not looking at reinforcing the police or whoever, even the military. It will not help us. We need the solution how to make these farms actually function much, much better. And I think from the Freedom Front, we need to also to look at saying how do we transform to make sure that the demographics within the economics actually represent the South Africa. And if we can push for that, and then we can have the solution. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution. So I've certainly appreciated. Any comments from my panel with regards to what's come from the floor? Yes, Marcel?
Thank you very much. Yes, I do agree in what you're saying. I didn't make the whole conversation racial. I just said that Honorable Malema indicated to people that they can take farms, and they said white farms. So that's what the racial thing came from me. I'm not a racist person. I'm working with the CPF in Mokopane, with the police, with the farmers, the rural areas. You can phone the whole rural areas in Mokopane. You can ask Marits and they will know me. I assist all the people in Mogalakwena. I'm just saying that the brutality and the hate speech is why I'm here today, because that is a main factor in the brutality of the farm murders. Some farm murders are not so brutally because they do steal because they haven't got jobs. That we've also realized. But some of the farm killings, like one of those the guest said, is they go in and take nothing. They just kill and go out. That means it's killing because it's brutal killing. Why do they kill us like that? That's the only concern that I do have, is the hate speech from politicians.
And we still have that us-them language, even as you were speaking yourself. I don't know if you're conscious of that.
Yes.
And I think we still have that, Peter. What's your comment there? Also, another issue of the issue of salary and wages. That is a very important aspect with relationships within the farming community, isn't it?
Yes, of course, yes. But I know labour law states that is the minimum wage, and I pay my people more than the minimum wage. So we're on a very good connection, and they know also if they've got problems in their community, I also help and give a helping hand. And I think as AfriForum, we have to say this farm attacks is a crime, a specialised crime that's been committed to the farming community as a whole in South Africa. And we have to see how we can solve that crime and how we can deter it from the community and get it away, because these criminals targeted soft target farms because they know it's the, like you said, it's rural areas, it's difficult for the police to reach them. And in the community, and that's why AfriForum's also got an agreement with the police here in Sanin. And I think we work very well together. And
as AfriForum, as you're responding to me, Peter, you said you yourself, you're very much aware that you pay your employees the minimum wage or even more.
More than.
But you're representing AfriForum today.
Yes.
Do the members from your organization do the same? Do you hold each other accountable as farm owners or as farm workers to make sure that you
have to abide by
maintain
the law.
that standard?
Yes, of course, yes. And the thing is that AfriForum think is also that we have to, as community, it's a farming community, we have to work together. I know the people that's working for me, I know their kids, I know everything about them. And I think we also need to help them and also establish a working relationship between the farm owner and the farm workers. But as AfriForum, we have to work together when these crimes occur. We have to solve them and get something in place to get it sorted out so that we're not getting targeted. So, and that means black farmers, white farmers, everybody needs to stand together.
But do you also believe that even with regards to your organizations as AfriForum, the perception that you only represent white farmers, then we have other organizations as well that are said to be only representing black farmers, that there's that separation even at that level of forums?
No, I don't think so. I've been at the police also. We're speaking to the taxi associations and say, listen, let's stand together and work as AfriForum and get information, and we will help you also assist, because they've got problems with their taxis being stolen and then parked at the farm or wherever. Nobody knows about it, but we can go and say, listen to the police, we see there's something suspicious going on. So we need to get information between the communities and the forums to work together to solve crime as a total in South Africa. That's the point.
Right. Mr. Hlongwane, as we do closing remarks, what would you like to contribute to this issue?
Audrey, I think also the problem that needs attention is that because some of the causes of crimes is because of socio-economic. We, as ACDP, we believe in land restitution. But for example, we don't believe in appropriation of land without compensation. But then the government should assist and make sure that they speed up the issue of people need land. Because yes, they can't all be employed, but if the people can get land, then they can do a lot of SMMEs, not at the farms only, but right at the other areas. And if we ignore that, then the whole problems will be circulated within the farms setup as if life is only at the farms only. We need to extend that, make sure that people get land. Land is emotive, land is linked to development, economic development. Let the government assist and speed up the process. Let people get land the best way they know how. Then many of the issues that we are worried about today could be lessened.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was also trying to establish. Even Mr. Ope a few minutes ago said we could go on and on about crime and how there's so much crime, how we need to arrest people, but the root of the cause is what needs to be addressed going forward. And I think issues of inequality and opportunities, employment need to be addressed so that this can be eradicated. Ma'am, can I have closing remarks from you, please?
Yes, there's a gentleman there who asked about the security structures. I just want to say that in all our police stations and our municipalities, we've got the youth desks, and there's a youth desk which is specifically responsible for looking at crime issues in a particular municipalities, your drug issues and so on. So I'm appealing to the gentleman and his friends to join our youth desks. And to the farming community and everybody else, let us have community safety plans, because community safety plans are based on the kind of security audit that is being conducted in your area. It diagnoses the contributors for crime, you know, the modus operandi and everywhere and everything. And from the security plans, you can then be able to develop relevant interventions which will address crime in your area, because you cannot have a cut and paste kind of a situations. The dynamics differ from one area to another. And finally, I'm happy that AfriForum is also looking into the issue of payment of farm workers, just to alert them that in the areas of Musina and Makado, we still have farmers who employ undocumented foreign nationals, and they pay them very little. So at the end of the day, we always pick up challenges around that. Unfortunately, the Department of Labor is not here, but that is a reality. There are still those farmers who are underpaying the workers, and when they have disputes, the undocumented people do not have anything which legitimizes their presence in the country. And you find that somewhere legally, it's not possible also to assist them if they are not legit in the country.
All right, ma'am, yes, thank you for those closing remarks. I'll get final remarks from you, Mayor Mangena. I just want to raise the issue from that young man there who spoke of lack of information and awareness when it comes to whatever help they may need, be it for issues of wage disputes or whatever issues that they may need. How do you make sure you get to the grassroots level for those people to understand what they need to do to assist themselves, so that we don't have this resentment in the community that may lead to criminality?
No, thanks very much, Audrey. We are guided, especially as leadership of the African National Congress, by the manifesto and various resolutions of conferences and councils of the ANC. The manifesto is very explicit in terms of creating a safe environment for all our people, but through working in these various structures. Therefore, anyone and everybody from all the wards, the government came with a plan to have wards so that we are able to manage information. All the ward councillors and all the ward committees will then become aware of this initiative of establishing community safety forums, community policing forums, street committees. In each and every ward, it must be the responsibility of all of us to take such initiatives so that we are aware of the information. That is why ward committees have got all the departments, your local economic development, your safety, every other thing. So we want young people as well to stand up, get closer to their councillors, so we'll be able to escalate information to any other level. But the other important aspect is the issue of integrating our efforts. We are saying, moving from here, we will be initiating steps. We want to work together, all of us, the police, farmers, rural villages, townships and towns, in order to defeat few people called criminals. who have got no political mandate but to deal with crime. Economic emancipation will be unjust to this topic if we cannot speak to the issues of making sure that we speed up economic transformation. Remember, Audrey, where we are, these are formerly white farms, and black farmers are beginning to come in. But there are people who are residing in those villages who know that that is my great-grandmother's farm. They've got certain things. So as soon as we move with speed towards integration and economic emancipation, we will be minimizing. I agree. No amount of police, no amount of soldiers will defeat this thing because the work is too deep.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for being a part of this conversation, and of course to the community members who came through and participated in this very important conversation as well. I think if there's anything that we can take away from today's conversation is the issue of trust and the issue of communication and the issue of also just wanting to have honest conversations in our community, and morality goes a long way in eradicating issues of crime. Well, thank you for watching the program and being a part of it. This is African News Network. I'm your host, Audrey Shimanda. Goodbye.